When you start awakening spiritually, this is what your fears look like. There are so many of them that it's easy to get overwhelmed. Because a part of you wonders, okay, which fear do I focus on first? How do I know which one is actually stopping me? That's the discernment that majority of us lack, at least when we are first starting out. And so the intention of this video is to, number one, help you get present to your fears such that they don't overwhelm you. And second, help you discern which specific fears are holding you back. You know, most beginners tend to relate fears only with chakra 1, and that's a rookie mistake. Because most of us don't comprehend that fears exist at each chakra level. And so your work here is to shine a light on your fears at each chakra. Now you already know that chakra is a portal of energy, of consciousness, and if you lived in an ideal world, you would have direct access to the intelligence of your chakras. But of course, that's not the experience for majority of us. And that's because trauma, distortions, imprints, implants, hurtful incidents, suppressed emotions, ancestral miasma, and also our fears block our chakras. And while most of us may not know which suppressed emotion we need to work with or which trauma is holding us back, most of us generally have some conscious awareness of our fears. And so when you start addressing your fears, you start working with them, it also gives you direct access to removing blockages from your chakras. Now, based on the location and theme of each chakra, you can intuit the corresponding fears. For example, chakra 1 is connected with themes of safety, security, survival, and so the blockages in the first chakra level can manifest as lack of ambition, feeling insecure in your body or in the world, or there could also be fear around money, around poverty, around being able to survive. Moving along, in the second chakra, the core themes are relationships, sex and sexuality, inner child healing, emotions, reproduction, intimacy, and instincts. And so the fear here can manifest as fear of relationships, of being intimate with other people, being afraid that you might be betrayed in your friendships, in your close partnerships. There could be fear around establishing healthy boundaries with others, fear around reclaiming your sexuality, or there could be fear around sex. Blockages can also manifest as being afraid to put your creative work out in the world, or it could manifest as you being afraid of your emotions or being terrified of your emotional conflicts. Now, your childhood experiences and your relationship with your parents also colors the functioning of the sacral chakra of the second chakra, and it's easily one of the hardest chakras to master. So you really want to be extra kind and compassionate with yourself when exploring with the second chakra themes. The third chakra is connected with the conscious mind, with your power, your self-esteem, and so the blockages here can be experienced as fear around power. There could be fear around misuse and abuse of power, or you could be terrified of taking responsibility or being responsible for other people, or you could be afraid of owning who you are in the world, maybe because of your upbringing, your family, your culture, and the likes. Now, in the fourth chakra, the core theme is love. And here you could be afraid of giving and receiving love. Or you may not know what healthy giving and receiving looks like. Another example could be if heart diseases run rampant in your genetic line, there could be an unconscious fear of getting a heart ailment. In the fifth chakra or the throat chakra, blockages can manifest as fear of speaking your truth or fear of voicing your opinion. It could manifest as fear of public speaking, and even when you do speak, your voice is frail, it's weak. The themes connected with the sixth chakra are inner vision and clarity. So here blockages can manifest as fear of intuition, fear of inner wisdom, inability to see clearly. And in the 7th chakra, the main themes are spiritual guidance, connection with the celestial realms, and here blockages can manifest as being mistrusting of the divine guidance. Now, with what I've shared as a backdrop, consider spending time and contemplating on each chakra theme, and then make a detailed list of which of the fears show up the most in your life and which ones are holding you back. You know, when you do this exercise, you might find that majority of your fears are localized in the first 3 chakras. And that's expected because we live in a 3D reality. And so in the initial stages of your chakra healing journey, you really want to commit to healing your lower chakras. Now, an alternative approach for getting present to your fears is with the 4-body model system. And according to this model, at an energetic level, we all have 4 bodies: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And when all these 4 bodies are healthy, they are balanced, that's when we tap into our authentic self. That's when we are not held back by our fears. Now, as a side note, I made a detailed video on this 4-body model system, and I've put a link to it in the description below. If you would like to learn more about it, I highly suggest checking it out. Now, in the context of this video, you can again use the 4-body model system to tease out your fears and identify, okay, which of the 4 bodies are they stemming from? For example, at an emotional body level, you could struggle with fear of asking for help, or fear of shame, guilt, anger, or any other big emotion. You could struggle with fear of failure, disappointment, of being judged, or feeling unloved. At a physical body level, you could struggle with fear of getting sick or catching a virus. At a mental body level, you could struggle with fear of the unknown, or fear that you don't know enough, or you are unworthy of knowledge. You could struggle with surrendering and letting go, or you could be terrified of change and leaving your comfort zone. At a spiritual body level, there could be fear of God, or worse, that God doesn't exist. So when you categorize your fears by the 4-body model system, again, it will help you pull out your fears out of your unconscious into your conscious awareness. Now, once you have clarity about your fears, the next step is to discern their intensity. As in, on a scale of 1 to 10, which of your fears has a resonance of 10, which one is a level 4, and so on. Now consider that each fear makes a distinct sound in your energy field, as in how the fear of failure feels inside your body may be very different from, say, the fear of being alone, or the fear of saying I love you first to your crush. And this is your job here, to discern how each fear feels on the inside. And I know it's easier said than done, because when you're just starting out, we are so cut off from our feelings, our emotions. And if I were to ask you, hey, how does the fear of failure feels inside your body? You're likely going to answer, I don't know. And that's totally understandable. And so an easier workaround is to look at your fears through the lens of your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. So for example, choose one fear that you really struggle with and ask yourself at a physical body level, where does this fear show up? Is it localized in my head, my feet, stomach, or heart? Is it localized in one area or multiple areas? What happens to my breathing when I feel this fear? Do I notice any change in my physical body when this fear shows up? Similarly, at an emotional body level, reflect upon what emotions accompany this fear. What are those people, places, things, times, and events that trigger this fear? How do you feel at an emotional body level when this fear shows up? Similarly, at a mental body level, you can ask yourself questions like, what do I tell myself when this fear is alive and well inside me? How does my behavior change, if at all? What actions do I take or not take when I feel this fear? And if this fear wasn't there, how would I act? How would I show up in the world? And at a spiritual body level, you can ask yourself, is there something I need to learn or release and let go in order to heal this fear? And so this is a nice workaround to determine how this fear feels inside your body. And if you want to take it up a notch, you can reflect on questions like, number 1, if this fear had a message, what would it say? Another question to ponder is, if you were to paint this fear, what color would you choose? What shape would this fear have? What form would it take? And so on. You know, when you do this exercise, that's when you really start to get present to your fears in a very tangible way. As in, how do they really show up? How do they really feel inside your body? And so in this exercise, make a list of your fears and really take time to feel each of them inside your body, just like we discussed, and then rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. And then you will know exactly which fears to focus on first. Now, in my experience, one of the best tools for releasing fears is meditation. And to that end, I recently published a guided chakra healing meditation in which I walk you through on how to release fears from each chakra. And I've put a link to this video, this meditation, in the description below. And if this is something you want to explore, I highly suggest checking it out. You know, in wrapping up, I do want to add that releasing fears is not a linear process. Especially fears associated with trauma events generally take their own sweet time in fully clearing. Same for any fears you experienced in the first 7 years of your life. And so when it comes to getting over fears, I always remind myself, patience is a virtue and one worth cultivating. Because if you stay committed to your journey, if you never give up, of course you're going to get to the other side. Now, in the description, you'll find a link to a comprehensive list of over 150 fears. You're welcome to download this list and work with it. Also, if you want additional support in releasing fears or healing your lower chakras, you're welcome to book a one-on-one session with me. Again, the link to book the call is in the description below. I hope this information is supportive in your healing journey. As always, please only take what resonates, discard all the rest. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you in the next video.